brief introduction. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of IACTA West Bengal, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to another episode of Heartlines, the Voices of Cardiac Anesthesia. So, today's session is the part of our exam preparation series that is dedicated to help our colleagues to prepare confidently for the FTE examination. So today is the last episode of our TE mini series. So this FTE examination is much more than a test of knowledge. It's a journey that strengthens our understanding of perioperative echocardiography, sharpens our clinical decision making, and ultimately it improves our patient care. So success in this examination comes from a focused preparation, a disciplined practice, and a learning from experienced mentors. So we are privileged to have with us Dr. Priyanka Moitra, a senior consultant in cardiac anesthesia, who will share all the practical strategies, effective study methods, and the common pitfalls to avoid, and the valuable insights that will help you people, every FTE aspirants, to prepare for an excellent outcome. I'm sure that this session will be beneficial not only for the examination candidates but also for all practicing cardiac anesthesiologists who wish to refresh or strengthen their echocardiographic knowledge. So a warm welcome to all of you, all my seniors, my colleagues, and all the FTE aspirants who will have joined us this evening. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. Without further delay, it is my privilege to invite Dr. Priyanka to begin today's session. So Priyanka, the virtual floor is all yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Priyanka Moitra Karak, and I'll just be talking about the practical. Hello? Hello?
Yes, Priyanka, you are
Yeah.
audible and visible too.
Yeah. So I'll be talking about the practical aspects of this FT examination. The FT examination is actually a very good program conducted by IACTA, which approaching which we get to learn our echocardiography very well and very by heart and in very minute details. So it's very important for us anesthesiologists as transthoracic echocardiography as well as transesophageal echocardiography both helps us in decision making and also take into care or rather give us an insight into the patient's pathophysiology of the heart or whatever surgery we are doing it into depth and details. So quickly coming to the exam structure, I think by this time everybody has undergone the theory part of it. Now we come to the practical part of it. The total practical has accumulation of 300 marks, of which the loops and the logbook, which has been asked, it has 100 marks. Simulation practice is of 100, and we'll have two viva tables of 50-50 marks each. Now, regarding the loops and the logbooks, I think till now also the actor still maintains its register of presenting 25 cases. Now, my advice would be that it's always best to present the 25 cases which has been done on yourself. We need to know the cases really thoroughly and really well, and each and every slide must be by heart. Second is, no matter how much complex surgeries or images you have taken in, the 2D imaging has to be immaculate. Now, 3D or any other institution having high-end machines giving us glass view and all are most welcome, but the main evaluation is on the 2D imaging, so that has to be absolutely spot on. All imaging has to be on the AAC guideline base, because we might sometimes in our daily practice tend to get some alternate view or by other approach, or depending upon the pathophysiology what we are dealing with, sometimes a little here and there happens. But when you are presenting the case, try to present only the AAC guideline based image acquired images, and every slide or every image should have an ECG. Must, 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 especially if you're evaluating all the structures which are particular to systole or diastole, just merely eyeballing the image and saying that this is systole because the mitral valve is closed and the aortic valve is open, or this is diastole, is not enough. You will be scrutinized upon the ECG as well. So please try to acquire the images which has ECG on its own. For example, if we present this kind of an image, there will be a lot of questionnaires on this. This is not, especially people who are candidates for appearing for the second time. This is an absolutely not acceptable image as per the IACTA guideline. There are so many faults, and even if you are presenting, sometimes what happens is you are not able to acquire all the 25 cases on your own. Maybe you have taken the help of your seniors, or you were not present in the case. Some images are acquired by you, some are not. But whichever you are presenting, please know the image very well. What are the pros of your image, and as well as what is the fault of your image? Like here, they will be, if I present this image, I will be immediately
Yeah,
questioned about
Priyanka, your slides are not moving.
my slides are not moving.
Yes. We just are seeing the approach to FDA examination by this slide only. Yeah, now it is. Just make a full screen, please.
Are my slides moving now?
No, it's not moving.
Okay, then I'll be presenting. Is this okay? The slide share?
Yes, yes. Just make a full screen. There is a logo below to make this full screen. Or you just go to the slideshow and above the slideshow above left.
Ma'am, I'm in the slideshow only, but if the slides are not moving, then
No, it's slides are not moving and it is not full screen. Like you have to make it a presentation mode.
just a second.
You just go to the slideshow, the above panel one.
Yeah, slideshow here.
Yes, and you can start from beginning or you can start from this slide. Yeah.
Now
Current
is it
slide.
now is it moving?
You have to press the current slide again.
From the current slide. Can you see the loop?
We can see the picture, but it is not moving. Something.
In this way, are you able to see?
Yes, yes, we can see. You can go with this.
Okay.
This is moving.
Okay, so
Thank you.
if this kind of an image is presented in the examination, then there will be a lot of scrutiny on this, because this is not at all an AAC based imaging. And if at all you have taken a case where you were not able to acquire all the images on yourself, please know your images very well, especially what are the pros of your image, as well as what are the faults in your image. For example, if this is supposed to be presented, then I will be scrutinized regarding what is my gain of this image, what is my depth of this image, what is the time gain compensation, where is my focus supposed to be. So try not to put up anything which will be scrutinized thoroughly, and including the fact that minute technical details like compression, penetration, what is the mode of resolution, all these things will also be scrutinized for. So before presenting any case, be very thorough with whatever case we are presenting. For example, this is a more or less AAC guidelines based image, and they are very particular. The examiners who are presenting, they are taking the examination for a very long time. They are very particular, especially if you like regarding the color box, what should be the size, where should it be, what should be the scale and the variance, where the color box should be, how much of the screen should it cover, and what especially if you are taking vena contracta in regurgitant lesions, if you are taking vena contracta, it must be in the zoomed mode. Then coming to spectral Doppler, the acquisition of the spectral Doppler has to be immaculate. If you have placed the color sample Doppler properly and you're acquiring a, say, continuous wave Doppler or a pulse wave Doppler, please see that the presentation should be such that only the background should be dark and only what you are trying to acquire should be in the forefront. Like this image A is a good image as per the AC guideline, but image B will not be acceptable. And even if it is acceptable, you have to be ready for a lot of questions regarding why this kind of an image was acquired. Then coming to the artifacts, for example, if we are taking placement of the sample Doppler, we may try different, in practical life we may try different views or different positions to acquire spectral Doppler or any other images, but when we are presenting for the examination, please be careful regarding the placement or the recommendations said in the guidelines. And also they are very particular regarding the artifacts seen in the images and what kind of artifacts are seen. A good spectral Doppler must have a clean cut envelope like this. If we have misplaced our sample Doppler, or what are the mistakes have we done, or whether our linear Doppler signals come with beard or chin, then you will be questioned upon it as well. Then this is an example of a tiger stripe artifact. I hope this is visible. This is the example of tiger stripe artifact. So often happens when we are acquiring the images, we tend to have interference with cautery, or maybe the surgeon is moving the heart, so the images get misplaced and everything. Please try not to put up such kind of images with there. And in multiple valvular lesion cases, they are very, very particular regarding presence of artifact and what exactly were you trying to acquire. So this kind of artifact, if you see, if you're able to answer it, then it is a tiger stripe artifact, which is commonly seen in native valve regurgitation. If we have a failed prosthetic valve, if we have mobile intercardiac masses, then if pacemaker leads are present or Lambel excellence is present, then these artifacts are come. So be careful regarding whatever presentation is being done. Second of all, regarding when we are presenting, questions will be asked not only upon the cases that we are presenting, but also upon the how well we know the echocardiography in its technicality. So when we have an EPIC 7, so I could use this image, but whatever machine you are using, all this machine will come with a set of information along the screen. So before you go, you must be thorough with this. For example, in here, if you use a EPIC 7, we will have information regarding probe in this one will be probe information, whether we are using X plane, what is the frequency of the probe, what is the depth of the probe. Then general imaging will show what is the gain, compression, penetration, type of resolution. If you're using a color flow Doppler, they will be mentioning of the color flow Doppler, the wall filter, what is pulse repetition frequency, what is the wall filter, whether it is a medium wall filter, low wall filter, high wall filter, what is its utility, that will also be asked. And also very much important, what we tend to miss is this. T probe temperature, try not to exceed the patient temperature, because if you exceed, then you will be definitely be questioned upon the biothermal effects, the thermal index, the mechanical index, and everything. Also, lastly, do not forget to check out which scale are you using for a color Doppler, and what is the variance of the scale, and where is the baseline. Because regarding the measurement of PISA or vena contracta, the scale needs to be moved, or the baseline needs to be torqued sometimes in order to get a perfect PISA. So even that will be questioned. So knowing how well the entire examination is based upon testing the knowledge of how well do you know your cardiography. You may present as simple as cases, or maybe I think they still maintain a set of list. They provide us a list of cases to be presented. So if at all, so how well do you know echocardiography? The entire examination is based upon this, and this loops and logbook table contains 100 marks. If you are able to go through this, if you are able to not cross this table, then chances become very slim. So this is not to be taken lightly. Not only that, not just case presentation. The logbook that you are presenting, it has to be spot on. You cannot miss on information, or you just cannot go on copying information. There should be relevant information on the logbook, because not just the 25 cases, they can pick up any case out of the rest of the 75, and you will be questioned about that. So the presentation of the case must be mindful. For example, if you are presenting an ASD case, it is expected that first there will be a four-chamber view, then there will be a measurement of the ASD, then there will be a direction of the ASD, then there will be other views representing the ASD. After it is done, there will be evaluation of the tricuspid valve. After the tricuspid valve, there will be an evaluation of the right side of the heart, RA and the RV. After we complete all, then we'll go on to the mitral valve or aortic valve as a part of the examination and go on. So there, the presentation, how you set up your slides also are very important, because that will help the examiner understand how well do you know the case and how well do you know how to examine. Because in practicality, though we are required to present all the 28 images in echocardiography, but it is not possible to do in all the cases that we do. For examination purpose, we may present so. For example, if in a CABG case, if you present a pulmonary view at the first, that will set up a very wrong information. So the sequential of the order of the images must be relevant enough. And if you tend to find any additional or incidental findings, that is to be kept in the end. There should not be any excessive annotation mentioned in the image or the loop that you are presenting. Do not mention the view. Maximum you can, at the max you can, if you're doing a pump case, you can write a pre-pump or a post-pump, which will help you to understand what you are presenting with. Otherwise, no excess information or no additional labeling is to be done. So this is the logbook that they have provided. They very well accept, IACTA very well accepts if any institution has their own logbook. But all this information are very relevant, very much prominent, and it is expected that whatever values you are putting in, that must be true to its own. Because the time when I gave the exam, I clearly remember that sometimes they even take out a calculator and actually calculate whether your TR velocity matches with what you have written, or whether the PG gradient matches with whatever you have written in. So just blindly writing it will not do. This contains a good 100 marks. So this must be perfect, this must be immaculate, and especially the pre-pump findings and the post-pump findings. If you are doing a prosthetic valve case, do not forget to mention what is the DVI, what is the EROA, what is the gradient post-pump, and whether there is a possibility or whether there is a presence of paravalvular leaks or patient prosthetic mismatch. If you're doing a CABG case, the pre-CPB and the post-CPB EF is very important. If sometimes what happens is in the post CPB or rather in the post grafting EF may not be at times taken because the lateral wall tends to overshadow the images. If it is possible, if you're presenting a good case, and if it is possible, take a transthoracic image in the post-op period and present that. That will be very much appreciated and very much welcomed by the examiners. Then coming to the simulation, this is another big table which is 100 marks, and there will be all type of case scenarios present. There will be cards present. You need to choose your own card. You will be allowed to 1 or 2 minutes to read through the question and think. Take your time to think, and there will be cases upon what I remember was there were cases upon ASD, VSD, evaluation of the mitral valve, tricuspid, aortic, pulmonary valve, and tetralogy of Fallot. Now, whatever answers you are giving, please make sure that those are the AAC recommended views and the AAC recommended measurements and landmarks for identification. Because here in the entire simulation, what is well tested is how well do you know the anatomical orientation of the heart. And probe care, if everything goes well, then you will be asked about probe care, because that also comes as a part in your T understanding. Now, this is not at all an exaggeration. This is exactly what you will get. There will be a mannequin. You will be having a TE probe, and it is obviously a simulation. So, one or two problems that you're going to face is, one, you will not be able to feel the tissue resistance normally that we see in the patient. So some of you may find a little difficulty. Second of all, this probe tends to slip in your hands because we are not used to such free moving probe. Third of all, sometimes we're getting for example, when we are trying to evaluate the pulmonary valve, we tend to trace the descending aorta, come up to the upper esophageal views, and then get the pulmonary valve view. That will not be possible in this simulation. But here, the key to go through this table is be very calm and do not mindlessly hold the probe. Whatever you are doing, please speak it out aloud and do not use terminologies like I will push the probe inside, then I will turn the probe left and right. No, please use proper words mentioned in the guidelines. I will be advancing the, for example, I will be advancing the probe from the mid esophageal level to the deep transgastric level. Then I will be flexing it to the right, if not flexing it to the left, or I will change the omniplane angle. Even if you're not able to get the view properly, still go on speaking as you do your investigations, because that will help the examiner know that you know what to do, what not to do. And again, here sequential order is very, very important. When you are in the mid-esophageal views, try to cover up whatever mid-esophageal views pertaining to that pathology are there. Then you progress to the deep transgastric view, try to cover up whatever pathologies, whatever views given according to the pathology are to be taken care of. And lastly, come to the upper esophageal view, or whichever sequence you are comfortable with, but do it in a sequential manner. You will be asked regarding the measurements of the mitral valve where they are taken, show the pulmonary views. And yes, pulmonary vein views are going to be a little bit difficult. So please go through the all possible methods mentioned in the guidelines regarding how to acquire the pulmonary vein images, because able to show 4 pulmonary veins in a simulation is difficult, but it is possible. Just go through that, and there is a simulation app also available. If you want, you can practice on that too. Last of all, probe care. Probe care will be asked. If everything is fine in your place, then this is not a like a silly thing. You will be asked regarding how you take care of the probe, of which integrity of the seal, routine care, and here before uh, going into any patient, how do you clean the probe will be asked. So be thorough, and be, even if you don't do it on your own, whoever is doing it in your OT, please ask them what they're using, what not they're using, and what is the recommended cleaning material mentioned in the guideline that you have to be thorough with. Then coming to the Viva, Viva will be 2 tables of 50-50 mark each. So here anything and everything can be asked, but generally pertaining to echocardiography it is maintained. And there will be one examiner who will be coming with their own set of loops and cases. So we will be question on table on that. Some of the few I remember very important favorite topics was the CABG. So first, if you are presenting or if you are shown a CABG case, what view shows what wall, that is very important. This you cannot sit there and then decipher in your mind what to say, what not to say. Please be thorough regarding which view shows which wall and what segment you can also show. Because if you remember in your loop book, you have the wall motion scoring, the bullseye view. So this will be asked because this will help not only in this but also in the strain. Because if strain images is strain imaging is no longer a good to know topic, it is now a must know topic. So what is the wall motion score index will be asked. So which segment represents what is the difference between transthoracic and trans echocardiography may be asked. And this is one of the very favorite kind of an question that was asked in the examination was, what kind of disease does this image or bullseye pertain to? So this is a cherry on top appearance, very classical of cardiac amyloidosis. This may be asked on the Viva table. Now 3D also. Acquisition of 3D is a must to know now. There is no escape from it. So even if you're presenting a 3D view or not, that is not important. But how to acquire a 3D mitral view, how to acquire, what is the procedure of acquiring a 3D ASD, how to take the aortic valve, and what to see in a prosthetic valve, all this acquisition must be by heart. There will be loops present. Generally, the loops are not that hard. You will be able to recognize, but understanding the loop is very important. And even if you in case you do not understand, please don't fumble too much. You just tell the examiner that, sir, I'm not able to get through it. They will usually move on. But even if it's not there in the institution, my advice would be, please go through the IACTA library and any echocardiographic page that you find, and understand the 3D orientation of the, because here ASD, whether it is from the very favorite question is when you're seeing an ASD, whether it is from the left atrium view or right atrium view is very much important. Yeah, this way. Visualizing an ASD from the right side, right atrium or left atrium. This is a very favorite question. If you get an 3D view, this will be asked. Then if you have a LA appendage closure, then the artifact mentioned will be a figure of 8 artifact. This can also be asked. Then knowing the artifact is very important, because especially in the Viva table, because there will be questions regarding how do you misdiagnose, or what are the differential diagnosis of it, of which one of the favorite questions that they would like to know is what are the DDs of your of the pathology. Because sometimes, because image acquisition 3D echocardiography is a semi-invasive measure, and it has a patient, observer to observer bias. So how well do you know how to acquire an image? Knowing the artifacts depends on how you answer regarding your how well you know your artifacts. So if you know the artifacts well, you will be confident in answering that yes, these are the other DDs, or there may be a problem in the image. So some of the very common thing is like comet tail artifact in aortic dissection. There may be reverberation artifact regarding the in the prosthetic aortic valve. There may be acoustic shadowing refraction artifacts in case of endocardiac masses. Then often ASD, and we tend to miss out ASD and VSD due to the echo dropouts and everything. So those are also very important when questioned. Some of the topics which are a must to know, and definitely you will be getting this in some table or the other, is a thorough knowledge regarding PISA. What is PISA? What is vena contracta? How to acquire the vena contracta? What is the proper guideline based recommendations to acquire vena contracta? Diastolic dysfunction. The four important information has to be given regarding the uh, tissue Doppler velocity, the TR velocity, then the septal E prime and the lateral E prime. Ischemic MR is again a very important topic regarding whether or not, or how will you guide the surgeon whether or not to replace or address the mitral valve when you are dealing with the case of CABG. ASDs, besides differentials, rim, the type of the views, rims mentioned, device, how will you, or what is the methodology of guiding a cardiologist in doing a device closure, or what is your role in during a surgical closure, and what are the complications of both device and surgical closures will be asked. Valvular regurgitation and stenosis grading must be thorough, and take it from me, it is not just mitral valve or aortic valve. In the simulation also, you will be getting a thorough questions regarding thorough examination of the pulmonary valve. So please do not miss out on that. For example, this is what is clearly asked regarding where and how to acquire the PISA, what shall be the position of the leaflet, what is the importance of the angle in the PISA volume, and when we are dealing with the regurgitation phase, for example, here I have taken aortic regurgitation, how to acquire EROA, the entire formula, which part of it is the EROA, what is the regurgitant volume. So these formulas must be known by heart. And in case you are presenting any incidental finding or any rare finding in your cases, please go through regarding the incidence of those rare findings in your cases, because that is what the examiners want to know, that if you are presenting in an examination, you should be knowing the rare case also, what is the incidence that is present in our country. So all these formulas regarding the regurgitant volume, regurgitant fraction, regarding the effective orifice area must be thorough. Then when coming to the ASD or VSD examination, when you are presenting a case of VSD, besides the usual views for the VSDs, for example, for the inlet 4 chamber, for the subarterial, the 5 chamber view, or the mediasophageal EMI-LACS view. All these we will mention, very good. But please do not forget to mention the deep transgastric view, because what the examiners love to listen is muscular VSDs we tend to miss out even if we have a perimembranous VSD. So a deep transgastric evaluation of the VSD is very, very important. Second, if we are dealing with a subarterial or perimembranous VSD, then evaluation of the aortic valve must be thorough. If we are dealing with a case of inlet VSD, then a thorough examination of the tricuspid valve is very, very important. Beside this, there will be question regarding how to calculate the right ventricular systolic pressures from the VSD gradient, or what will you do with knowing the gradient across the VSD, or if at all it is important, then what is the shunt value in a very simplified formula can be asked, how to find out the shunt value, and what will you do by knowing the shunt equation. Because in ASD, VSD, we will know that the shunt equation, that the shunt will be, QPQS will be higher. So what is your role in knowing the QPQS, or if you're presenting to find out the QPQS, that has to be answered well, that if we don't know the baseline QPQS, I will not be able to evaluate how much of the QPQS has changed after the pathology has been closed. Then this is an image. This is an image of a retrograde coronary sinus catheterization. Presenting for a CABG case, this will be asked regarding, depending upon what CAG values you know, or what was the case. So if you are presenting a CABG case in the loop table as well as during the Viva table also, make sure that you remember what the CAG of the patient was, because then in case of tight LMCA cases, we sometimes it happens that we need to put in a retrograde sinus or coronary sinus catheter. So in that case, how will you guide the surgeon in through what views? This will be asked. Then this is a very favorite image of some examiners, the hepatic view image. Here, a lot of questions are going to come, especially when you are going for cannulation of all kind, and what is the role of this view in the managing the ICU patient as well. So here, whether you're going for an ECMO cannulation, a CPP cannulation, all the cannulation, what you are able to see, what you're expected to see, and in the ICU patient also, where this is a very good image where it will help you take the hepatic vein Doppler during the VEXAS, in the VEXAS score. Then if you have a severe hepatic dysfunction or a right-sided diastolic failure, then from there also you need the hepatic vein Doppler for the evaluation of the right heart, for the right ventricle. So this image is not to be ignored, and this image also must be present in all your pump cases with the cannula in situ, because these are very high earning, like number earning image, and with proper answers you will be able to get good marks through this. So these are the various cannulas that whatever is available in the institute must be knowing, whether the dual stage cannulas are used, or you're using a separate SVC IVC cannula. So this must be thorough with. Second of all, as I mentioned earlier, pulmonary valve is not to be ignored, especially evaluation of pulmonary regurgitations, because there are questions for simulations based on this, as well as on tricuspid regurgitation as well. So my suggestion would be that you go through the AAC guideline. AAC has a set of whole guidelines, of which the native valvular regurgitation guideline is very important. The surgical decision making guideline is extremely important. These two questions are through. So because they are very practical guidelines also, and most of your answers will be hidden in there. So whoever is approaching the examination, if you're cramped for time, still I would suggest that you go through at least these two guidelines very thoroughly. So effective study strategies would involve basically you're going through your textbook. You should know your cases very well. Theory knowledge is also acquired, because that will help you to guide in seeing what more images to be acquired, or what is to be expected out of that case that you are presenting. And lastly, go through the IACTA library, because IACTA library has a good resource of eco images. Some unusual cases are also put up, which may be taken or which may be picked up by the examiners. And lastly, go through whichever website is possible, or even the AAC guided website is possible, for the 3D images. If at all, even if you do not practice taking 3D images, how to acquire the images must be thorough and straining. Nowadays, the entire reperfusion strategy has moved towards training. So at least, if nothing, if not the LS train, LV train is a must to know. And regarding this, a few tips from my side would be, all depends on how confident you are in presenting your case. So whether you are presenting the case, whether you are going for simulation, it must be, you should not fumble, you should be confident, you should be thorough in what you are saying and what how you are saying it. Do not get stuck too much. So if that in required, whoever if you have your peers together, sit down and try practice speaking out or present your cases very well. That is what is required. It is not that in a loop stable, if you will just show the images and keep quiet. It's not like that. It is expected that when you are presenting your loop case, you should be introducing your case very well, that this is a mid-esophageal fourth chamber view showing the left, right, and right atrium, and right ventricle and left ventricle, with the wall motion abnormality of, say, the anterolateral wall and the infraseptal wall. So this is how you will present the case. You should be allowing the examiner to ask you questions. If you have not been able to acquire the image on your own, and when asked, please be honest with it, because they are also like doing cases on a daily basis, so they know the entire we may not be able to take an entire case in its entirety always. So please be honest with it. Second of all, in the post processing, the image does change. So simple techniques like when acquiring the image, that the room should be darkened, the gain should be low, then the compression should be adjusted. This needs to be done. And especially for candidates who are appearing for the second time, no excuse will be entertained. Take it from me. Last of all, if you are given a chance of presenting a case, please present your best known case there. It is not about how complex the case is or how challenging the case was. The examination is not to see that what you are doing. It is to evaluate your knowledge and how good you are at acquiring a 2D image. So you may as well put in a 2D, a 3D image, or a glass view image in your presentation, but your 2D imaging has to be spot on, because that is what is evaluated upon. And if given a chance, you are allowed a chance, please go ahead and present your best prepared cases. And otherwise, the examiner will choose for yourself, and you may not get a best of the 25 cases to prepare. So sit with your friends or colleagues and try speaking out the cases. Use terminologies mentioned only in the guidelines regarding the probe, whether to advance, whether to withdraw, whether to flex to the right, flex to the left, anti-flexion, retroflexion, all should be proper terminologies. Do not use layman terms while doing the echocardiography. And there is a simulation app also in the App Store. If you can download that, you can even practice on that. That will help you to see what kind of simulation image you will be getting. And alternate views images. Do not just come up saying anything and everything. Whatever is mentioned in the guidelines, speak only that, because then there will be no place to cross you through. Especially the valvular regurgitation grading, stenosis grading, patient prosthetic mismatch, thorough answer whatever it is written only in the guidelines. So in exam day tactics, it is going to be in a big hall, and it's a very silent hall. Yes, it is unnerving. I agree with that. However, if you are, ma'am, where is it being conducted this time? Hello?
There are 4 places, I think, in
So if you are
Kolkata.
going, my point is, if you are going outstation for the examination, please reach the day before, calm your nerves, go through the entire slides and loops thoroughly again, and go ahead in the examination very coolly, very calmly. So just relax, do your best, and it will be great. Yeah, Bengaluru, Vasa. So Vasa is a big center, and Vasa is very silent and can be unnerving. So just go reach the day ahead your examination and be very very calm about it, because often in the entire thing we tend to fumble. It is best not to get your nerves in your head, and just go through the loops very well. And the logbook, because the logbook holds a lot of marks, a lot of questions also, and you have to, besides the 25 cases, the other 75 cases has to be also thorough. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Priyanka. Any questions? Okay, thank you, Priyanka. If there is no question, thank you so much for such an insightful and practical session. So, your guidance has not only provided a clear roadmap for a TFT examination, but also reminded us that the consistent learning and the disciplined preparations are the true key to success. So, we sincerely thank all of our senior colleagues and our FT aspirants for joining us today and making this session so meaningful. So we hope today's discussion inspire everyone to continue our learning with so much confidence and enthusiasm. So on behalf of IACTA West Bengal and the Heartlines team, thank you so much, Priyanka, for your valuable time and participations. So stay connected with the Heartlines to learn, to prepare, and excel. So have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.